You know who doesn't have to get back on track?
Who's that, Mitch?
The Islanders offense, baby.
Yeah. So obviously the second game against Ottinger, we complained about that on the last episode. They didn't score a goal, but there were some positive signs to take out of it.
Yeah.
Offensive explosion this past game against the Colorado Avalanche. And Mitch, I know we're a big taking a look at expected goals. We talked about Anders Lee expected goals, I think, all last year.
We did.
But as of right now, New York Islanders, 5th in the NHL in expected goals at 5-on-5. Things you just absolutely love to see. 2 out of the 3 games, they've been good offensively.
Yeah, and specifically, like you're saying, at 5-on-5, where they're generating chance after chance after chance. And we've been craving for not even top 10 offense, just middle of the pack offense, right? Because we've been dealing with like 23rd, 24th level offense for years, it seems. I have some data that we'll get to as the conversation progresses here, but it hasn't been good offensively. And so now what we're hoping for is just middle of the pack. You give us anything better than that, then awesome, obviously. And that's clearly what we're getting here. We're getting some balanced offense with goals from everyone, right? Like, you're getting goals from the top line to the second line to the third line. Maybe not so much on the fourth, but
nope.
Whatever. It's to be expected.
Yeah, fourth line has been a little bit of a problem. But something that I've thoroughly enjoyed, we talked a lot about the Islanders' top 6 on the last episode, and that carried over into this game. But, obviously we wanted to keep a close eye on Anthony Duclair because he was the big free agent, acquisition, and there's still 79 games left, so let's not go nuts here. But he's looked good, and I think we should talk about it. He has 2 goals. He picked up an assist as well in the first game. Brock Nelson potted a couple goals. That first one against Colorado was just a thing of absolute beauty, by the way.
It was so good how he weaves through it, and just you see it in slow motion, basically how it's happening. Oh my God, it was amazing to see live. Live. Jake saw it live. He was there in person. I saw it live on TV. Right, so live. But you're right. It was fantastic to see. And you're right. Duclair has looked better. I'm not going to say he's looked great. I think he's still kind of figuring out some of the ins and outs of the system, which, as you alluded to earlier, we're in game 3 of the season.
Yep.
That's going to happen. But the returns in terms of the production is obviously clear to see for sure.
Yeah, that's been obvious. And, like you said, it's not just him. They're getting it from all over the lineup. I do want to make a mention of someone else in the Islanders' top 6 who scored a goal, and Kyle Palmieri. And I saw an interesting stat from Stefan Rosner. He tweeted out an article on this, but Kyle Palmieri has 20 goals in the first 40 games of Patrick Roy's tenure, which leads the Islanders, and that's tied for 9th highest in goal total since January 21st.
Did he find some extra gear
I hope
didn't
so.
exist previously? It doesn't seem like Kyle is doing anything different. Like structurally, in terms of the way he plays the game, nothing has really changed. His positioning hasn't changed. As far as I know, his ice time hasn't changed. Do you know if it has? I don't think so.
No, looking at his ice time through the first 3 games of this year, Kyle Palmieri is sitting at 1656, which I feel like is pretty standard for where you would expect a second liner. Last year, he was at 1713, so essentially the same.
When did Patrick Roy get hired by the Islanders?
January 21st.
January 21st. That's right. Okay, so if we go up until the 19th, he was averaging 17 minutes and 1 second under Lane Lambert. If we then go with Patrick Roy, just to see if there's at least a difference in terms of usage here, from the 21st all the way to the end of the regular season, 17:28. So he maybe got an extra shift under Patrick Roy. And even then, maybe not, right? Like we're talking about 27 seconds on average difference. So maybe a shift, which could be maybe a little bit more power play time, maybe a little bit more PK time type of thing. Although I'm sure it's more power play time, if anything.
Yeah, I think so.
So that in and of itself doesn't mean like, oh, that explosion, that's all we needed. 20 more seconds of Kyle Palmieri. So yeah, I guess it's something to do with the way the line itself plays that leads itself to better returns from Kyle Palmieri? Question marks?
I hope so. I talked about in the preview, I was a little bit down on him repeating the performance but I think you have to like what he's given you. And again, like for me, I think the top two lines have by far looked the best for the Islanders, which is as expected. Normally, the guys who are playing higher up in the lineup are better than the ones who are playing lower. But they even got the third line going a little bit now after this last game, which is good. Fourth line's still a work in progress. I don't know if this is unfair. Maybe I'm just kind of piling on here, but I do kind of feel like they need to make a change with Oliver Wahlstrom because he's really the only one that they could pull out. Like Cizikas and McLean, you're not taking out. They're fine in that role, but Wahlstrom is still debatable if he's functioning as a fourth liner.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I've seen some people, especially on our YouTube comments, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've not, mention like, well, let's maybe give him a break. He's learning his like third system in like 3 years. He's playing what is a different line and a different situation for someone of his skill set, or what we thought his skill set was. So maybe we shouldn't be so hard on him, which is fair to a certain degree. But it has been multiple years now, and other people have seemingly got it. It's not really taking place with him, and they would gladly put him on the second line if he played well enough, and he's just not doing that.
Right, like he was billed as someone who has a good shot and is a good goal scorer, and his shooting percentage has been way down over the last couple of years. If he showed any signs of being a plus player offensively, I think you make that case, but we haven't seen it, and the Islanders are getting good production from their top six. So like you're not moving one of the guys out, especially on the right side. It's like Barzal or Palmieri, who are you moving out? Both guys have been really good. So he's kind of stuck, unfortunately. And like you said, it's not like this is like game 15 of Oliver Wahlstrom. He's had some significant playing time at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like there was a spot in the top six, right, that was available. Maxim Tsiplikov was supposed to be a fourth liner, even by loose admission. We brought him in, start him on the fourth line. Even Patrick Roy, start him on the fourth line. We'll see what happens. But no one played well enough to keep him from taking that spot, basically. If Oliver Wahlstrom had played well enough, they might have tinkered with putting Matt Barzal on the left, which he had said he doesn't mind doing. He likes playing on the left, actually.
Yeah, he does.
So maybe they put him on the left, someone on the, they can not Jenga, but Tetris some things around to put people in the right position so Oliver Wahlstrom could play within the top six had he done well enough. And that was clearly not the case. So fourth line for him it is. And yeah, maybe he's not the right fit for a fourth line, but if you want to make it work and you want to stay in the NHL, bud, that's what you got to do. And it's just not, it's 3 games. So if we're not going to, get too excited about some players, we shouldn't get too down on other ones.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. I guess maybe if he played differently last year and like this was new, then I would feel different and maybe have a little bit more patience. But I think it kind of just feels like a continuation. So maybe that's why I'm a little bit critical. But again, like Anders Lee gets on the board, JG Pajot has a goal. Like things are happening a little bit on that third line at least.
Exactly. And Patrick Roy is asking them to contribute more offensively. And you have no better slot passer than Casey Cizikas. Nope. Just get yourself in the slot and he will find you. He will find you. Guaranteed. He's done it 4 years to Matt Martin and Cal Clutterbuck, who, with no disrespect to their names, are not at the same caliber in terms of their shot as Oliver Wahlstrom. They're just not. No,
they're definitely not. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like the Islanders are going to make a change at this point. No, I think Patrick Roy likes Oliver Wahlstrom. I think that's why he's gotten this run.
I hope so, because maybe that's what all he needs, just someone to take him under his wing. Like, I got you, bud. Let's grow through this together. Ideally, I would love that, right? If I was in that situation, have someone kind of coach me up that way. Great, cool. Maybe that's what he needs. He needs a little, tender hand to bring him up instead of a firm whatever baton. I don't know the analogy that I'm going for, but you all get it. You don't need someone to discipline him. You need someone to coach him along, apparently. And maybe that's what Patrick Roy is doing. And potentially we get some success out of that. Although we have not seen it yet, but it has only been 3 games.
Yeah. So, who knows? Maybe he turns it around at some point. But again, I thought it was important to bring up here because it's something we talked a lot about in the offseason is how is this team going to be able to score goals? And again, it's a small sample, but we're just looking at the sample size that we have right now. And through, 3 games, they've been able to score and score a lot in 2 of them. Again, the The Dallas game was frustrating. They had their opportunities. Ottinger played well, made saves when he needed to. And the Islanders absolutely left stuff on the table. But I think just overall, and we haven't even really technically hit on it yet, but I think you have to be very satisfied with their win over Colorado.
If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.